What's up, YouTube? This is A.R.M, and this is my review of Count Vertigo #1. As some of you may know, this month and next month is Villains Month in DC Comics, which means the villains are taking over the covers of their respective hero. There's also Forever Evil, and the society is reforming with a crime syndicate coming to Earth 1. The Justice League is dead, and the villains are taking over. They're out. So I also picked up, for the first two titles, Count Vertigo. I also picked up Cheetah. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but all of the titles have a 3D, oh yeah, you can tell. Yeah, it has a 3D animation effect to it. Pretty damn cool. They all have that 3D animation effect to it. You can feel the ribbing. This is going to be a collector's item, so after this review, I'm putting it back in the plastic and I'm leaving them alone. My goal is to get every last issue of Villains Month. Okay. So I'll do a little bit of backup right here. In the back of the book, it will show you all of the covers. I don't want to go over all of them, but some of the most interesting ones is Trigon's taking over Teen Titans. We have Darkseid taking over Justice League, Lobo taking over Justice League, Joker's daughter, which I hear is a very popular one that's sold out already. Harley Quinn was another one that was kind of price high. I tried to find one of my favorites, Black Adam. I have yet to acquire that one. Cyborg, Zod, Luthor, Parasite, Hell, Bane, just all types of villains taking over these respective titles. So I can just give it a quick read up, and it'll pretty much give you the gist of Villains Month. Following the incredible events of the Trinity War, the secret society is back, and in the pages of the new miniseries Forever Evil, the heroes are dead, and in their absence, evil runs amok across the DC universe. So get ready, as all the greatest villains of the DCU take center stage, from Arcane to Zod, from the Joker to the Penguin, from Relic to Cheetah, and many more. Alright. So Count Vertigo #1 starts in Vancouver, Canada. We see Count gets off the jet. He's speaking with his assistant. His assistant's greeting him. He gives him a suitcase with this Count Vertigo equipment in it. They're going over some charity event stuff. But it's obvious Count Vertigo, aka Warren Zedel, he has a foundation as well. He's there to settle some kind of personal business, so he keeps things pretty short and to the point with his assistant. Then in the present day, you see him arrive at a house, an old, broken down, dilapidated house. He tells his assistant to stay outside. Then he goes in, he looks down at the globe, and then he does a flashback scene to him as a young boy. And most of the beginning scenes from him as a young boy starts with his mom in the first person view. So his mom's talking to him, warning her, this is where her home is now. She's pretty much telling him they have to flee their hometown of their home country of Vlatava. He's pointing to it on a map. His mom is drinking. She's verbally abusive toward him. She tells him he's stupid, he's weak. That's why they have to flee the country. He has a birthright as a count, but he still is a little weak boy who needs protection. Pretty much tell him, your father was a great man, the next in line to be a king. He fought hard, and they show a little flashback within a flashback of, the father fighting the war. But then, you see the abusive mother looking at him again. Your papa gave his life, and yet your family still lost everything to those rebels. So, to basic flee to foreign country, the father is killed, the mother and the son has to take refuge in another country, this country being Canada. Okay, so she's telling him all right, you be a good boy. She has to go to work. She puts on a fur coat, and pretty much the rest of the dialogue hints that she's, somewhat of a prostitute, a call girl. She's telling him there's beans in the refrigerator. If not, she'll bring food back in the morning. And if she's there with a man, be in another room. Mom's working. So he had a bit of a rough childhood, which would be a common thread with most villains. Then they come back to present day, and then as a grown man, he's saying, "Okay, mama." Kind of sad. So, they go back to the flashback, and then, you see his mom with his teddy bear. If you noticed in the past couple of scenes, he has a teddy bear that he holds to as a kid. But his mom gave Warren away to some special school. You see these guys here; they're here to take him away. So they take young Warren away, and then they go into, that's Warren. Just hold still. This is only going to hurt for a minute. They're putting him in some sort of machine, so they're experimenting on him. They're telling him he's a very special boy. Something's wrong with him, but he goes with a school called Creus. So while he's at Creus, he's been experimented on, and in this scene, it goes to show some of the abuse and the conflicts he had with some of his former classmates who may have also been special. But this scene is also a pivotal moment. These kids are calling him Wiener, teasing him about his teddy bear. He's telling them to shut up. Then they're saying, "Are you going to cry?" Then one other boy say, "Be careful. I heard he has diseases." And then the other boy says, "The mom's a whore. You don't ever strike the mama nerve right there." He tells him to take that back. Uh-oh, guys, Wiener's getting mad. Then he finally reaches breaking point, tells him to shut up. And then born is Count Vertigo. This is the first time in a series, in this book, they showed him as a young boy, but he has veins coming out of his head and these devices. And he's yelling, "You are not disrespecting me." And he's releasing his vertigo waves, which, the classic Count Vertigo as well. Those waves would disorient the person, knock them off balance. The older Count Vertigo also had the ability to fly based off these waves. I doubt New 52 would give him that, seeing as how they're always willing to take away characters' abilities to fly. Then they come back to the beginning scene, or they come back to the future, and then you can see him looking down at his teddy bear. He picks it up again. And then he goes into another flashback, but then this flashback is much later. Once he developed his abilities further at the school, he's talking to one of the head doctors who experimented on him. He's saying, "Thank you, Dr. Witchell." The doctor's like, "Really, Warren, you've come so far. It's incredible what you've accomplished with us here at Crease." Now he's saying, "How is the new model? Are your headaches any better?" So I guess they fitted him with a new head device, and they're going back and forth. But the gist of this conversation is basically Warren is a little bit bitter because he's appreciative of the development of his powers and the devices, but he also doesn't like being used as a weapon. So he eventually gets to the point where he wants to tell the doctor to leave, but he said there's one thing he has to do. The doctor's like, "Well, I'm sorry, we're not done. It's not your decision to make." He's saying, "Yes, it is. I'm done here. In a way, I'm grateful for what you've done, for what you've turned me into, but we'll have to, but it'll make what I have to do so much easier. You must know you must be punished for this as well." So the doctor, you can start seeing this scene, the veins pop up in his neck. The doctor tries to push a button as a failsafe. He kills the doctor in this scene. He drives him crazy with the vertigo. There's blood everywhere. Then they go back to a future scene of him holding teddy bear while he's thinking about that. Then they go 9 years ago. This is a little later after that scene. This is still in flashback, and he's going to his castle. I guess the castle where his father ruled, but back in his home country, and it's being guarded by some of those rebels. He pretty much has a confrontation with them. Young guy. You can pretty much gather how this goes. Young guy with a hoodie on, coming up to some rebels. So they're talking back and forth, exchanging words, but they're getting more threatening. And then of course he just pulls out the Count Vertigo on them and, you know, blast their asses. And then he tells them, my name was Warren Zytel. I was to be the Count of Vlatava, but now I'm something more. I'm Count Vertigo. So that's the first time in this book he named himself Count Vertigo, and I guess from this point on, he goes through the decline of villainy. They come back to a future scene, and there was someone here. His assistant, I guess, had somebody here for him. He's asking him where'd she end up finding her. They found her somewhere in the slums. You know, he tells the assistant, well, you'll be rewarded well. Then he goes into the room, and lo and behold, it's his mother. This is starting to feel like Thanos rising. He sees his mom in the room. He goes up to his mom. You can see she's kind of sick. She's very sick looking, actually. She's hooked up to IV or blood. You know, she's telling him to leave him alone, and she's a little argumentative. But then I guess she gets clarity and figure out it's him. He says, Mama, it's me. It's Warner. Oh, it's Warner. Can it really be you? Is it real? He gives her the teddy bear. They have an exchange. He's pretty much a bitter man. He's saying, you don't understand, Mother. I'm the one keeping you here. She's like, to punish me. And he's like, I know the drugs have taken their toll on you, but don't pretend to remember what you did to me, your son. He's upset that he was sent to that school to be experimented on. He's benefiting from these powers, but he's also very bitter about it in a way. So, you know, he's yelling at his mother, admit you remember what you did to me, admit it. It's pretty much saying, funny, you always scolded me for forgetting my birthright, for shaming my country, but what you did to me, you sold your ear for what? Maybe it was worth it when the money they gave you was gone up your arm, but what about now? So she was heavily on drugs then. She looked like she's heavily on drugs now. They have an exchange back and forth. He's pretty much getting to the point where he grabs his own mother and he kills her. Then he walks out the room. He tells his assistant, you know, he can return to their homeland, and return to the cause. I guess he's fighting the rebel forces in his homeland. Then he goes out to his helicopter and he tells him to burn the house with his mom's body in there. They say, where to? And then he says, to Seattle. I'm in the mood for a fight. So there you have it. That's Count Vertigo #1. It says it's to be continued next month. The title of this book it's called Mama's Boy. If I was to rate this out of 10, I would give it a 7, because I think it could have dove a little bit more into you know, his history in his homeland of Vlatava. I would have liked to have seen more of that. I would have liked to have seen at least a short flashback scene, since this is current day Count Vertigo. You know, a flashback scene of at least one meeting he had with Green Arrow. The artwork, it's stylish artwork. It's not the main type of artwork I like to see in comic books. I like the artwork to be a little bit more vibrant, cleaner line work. This one is a little bit more moody, sketchy. It does lend to the type of character and type of story, but it's good artwork, good storytelling. 7 out of 10 for me. And there you have it. That's Count Vertigo #1, taking the place of Green Arrow for this month. My next video will be Cheetah #1, and as I collect these and hunt them down, you'll see more. Thank you for checking out my video. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more. Peace.